So far, all of the ordinary warriors had been killed off, leaving only the 3 advanced warriors and Garin and the other 2 midges. Those ordinary warriors weren't worthy opponents against the Undead, so their failure was inevitable. As for the assassins, not one of them was able to escape from the Undead led by Scales and Brick. The result was that the 3 advanced warriors and the 3 midges were surrounded by over 1,000 Undead. If they wanted to run away, it wouldn't be easy. Green and Merrin didn't stop for a second as they kept up their attacks against the 3 advanced warriors. Green felt that these 3 were too murderous, so if he gave them even a little bit of breathing room, they might take the chance to escape. As for Garin, it was impossible for him to escape. He felt very depressed. His light spells restrained black magic, so they should be lethal against those Undead. But his attack had no effect. The Jishiling twins weren't looking any better. Although their stone giants were powerful, the magic requirement to sustain them was very large. Most importantly, they had to focus so that they could carefully control them. Once they summoned the stone giants, it was difficult to use other magic. However, in this case, summoning the stone giants could be considered the best choice. The stone giants were huge and strong, they could catapult parts of their body, and poison had no effect on them. They have not yet suffered a loss against the Undead. Unfortunately, the stone giants were the only ones that were able to resist these strengthened Undead. When Garin discovered that his light magic was useless against the Undead, he immediately changed his strategy. He decided to stand behind his teammates and support them from there. It was a common strategy on the continent. One of the reasons light midges were famous was because of the healing properties of their light spells, in addition to its ability to restrain black magic. In the continent, light magic was the most effective form of treatment. Not only could it treat injuries, it could also help people recover their magic quickly. While advanced light midges weren't weak, their attack power was comparatively less than other types of midges. It was precisely because of this that when there was a light midge on your team, the safest place for him was at the back. From this position, he could heal your wounds and restore your magic. With this method, while standing behind the Jishiling twins, Garin would restore their magic from time to time. At the same time as this, the 3 advanced warriors were trying to reach Garin to gain his support. But Green knew their intentions, so he immediately stepped up on the offensive, while getting the Undead to besiege them. Although the Undead were supposed to be under Drunk's command, they were at least smart enough to know that Green's identity was even higher than Drunk's, so the Undead would naturally listen to Green. All of this was happening while Zhao was quietly sitting in the living room, watching the battle. He didn't even notice when a tone chimed in the space. The 3 advanced warriors were in a tough fight. Not only did they not gain Garin's magical support, they were also facing against 2 experts, Green and Merrin. Plus they were surrounded by Meg, Blockhead, Rockhead, the Black Midges, and the Undead army. For them to survive for so long was already a miracle. The 3 were very powerful warriors that had received extremely rigorous training. If it weren't for that, they fear that they would have already been killed. Even so, the situation was dangerous. They were all injured, and their wounds contained toxins from the Undead. They had to use their martial arts skill to suppress the toxins, otherwise they would have been poisoned to death. It was because they had to partly focus on suppressing the toxins in their bodies that their attacks and defense had declined so much. Plus fighting against an 8th level warrior and an 8th level midge was already difficult to begin with. But because of their skills in martial arts, it would still not be so easy for Green and Merrin to kill them. That was until Shift joined the battle. Shift's original target was supposed to be Garin. But right now Garin had blessed himself with protective magic. With Shift's current abilities, it was impossible for him to bypass that spell and get past the two midges to reach Garin. So he had to change his target to the three advanced warriors. But the advanced warriors were in a similar situation, in which they were protecting themselves with their martial arts. But over time, Shift knew that an opportunity will appear. After fighting a long battle, plus feeling the effects of the toxin, those warriors would eventually lower their guard. That would be his chance. After all, one of the most important skills that assassins must learn was patience. An opportunity came when Meirin sent a water dragon towards the three advanced warriors. Two of the warriors welcomed the water dragon because they were planning to scatter it like they did with the previous two. Of course, this left one of the warriors alone for a moment. At this point, Shift suddenly appeared in the air, stabbing his sword into the advanced warrior. After fighting all night, of course the advanced warrior would be tired and his reaction speed would dull. By the time he sensed Shift behind him, it was already too late. Shift's sword pierced through the warrior's head and out his mouth. He was dead. Shift didn't pull out the sword. Instead, he let go of it as darts flew from his hands, going straight towards the other two advanced warriors. After he threw the darts, Shift rolled on the ground and then disappeared in front of everyone. By this time, the body of the dead warrior fell to the ground. The two other advanced warriors were able to knock away the darts, but they failed to block Meirin's water dragon, which managed to slam one of the warriors to the ground. Before he could get back up, the Undead pounced on him and ripped him to pieces. Seeing his two fellow brothers killed, the last advanced warrior howled at the sky. Waving his sword, he rushed at Green, but before he could take a step, a massive something black surrounded him. It was the black magic spell, Imprison. He yelled and broke through Trunk's magic, but then he suddenly tripped. He looked down. His feet had been entangled by green gas. This made him even more furious. He knew that this was the low-level wind spell, Wind Rope. Normally, he wouldn't care about such low-level magic because it was impossible for it to stop him, but he was annoyed that it slowed him down. He easily broke off the Wind Rope, but then Meirin's Frost Saber Storm spell arrived. It was a high-level spell that condensed water into ice, then spun it into a tornado, creating a huge meat grinder. The warrior's face couldn't help but change. He knew how powerful this spell was. With it looming closer, he stabbed his sword against the Frost Saber Storm, trying to shake it off. However, the storm didn't disappear, only relenting a little. The warrior then used a technique that made it look like he was fighting with 5 swords, which allowed him to break the Frost Saber Storm. But the moment the storm broke, something fast as lightning pierced through his throat. Green had thrown his sword. It was a one-hit kill.